Ladies, gentlemen, my fellow Americans, my fellow Parisians, my fellow Britons and Australians, last but not least, my fellow everybody, because there's a bunch of us. So anyway, got a little bit to talk about today. This is the Eastern Standard by Caldwell. It's a very good cigar. It's a good average cigar, let's put it that way. If you're looking some, go get them. They're great. Miss Nikki and I, we're in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina today. We've been here for 2 days now, having a pretty good time. Really don't know what the hell to do here, you know? I mean, really just don't. But we're having a good time, I guess. And she's inside. We're in Café de Paris. Café de Paris. So we're here with the Parisians right now, and she's inside. She's taking care of a little business that she needed to deal with, some continuing education for her hospital, and it won't take much longer. But I decided to come outside, smoke a cigar, and do a response to my own video. So that video, number 14, which was Unicorn Farts, a philosophy on cables. I still hold to most of it. There's a couple things that I would like to just clarify, and one of them was the 10% rule. Now, in the the department of here's my advice, take it, I'm not using it, okay? In that department, here's my advice, take it, I'm not using it. I said in there that, 10% is a good rule on cables. 10% is a good rule, right? So why did I spend at wholesale, or I should say at value, what I've got in my system, I spent roughly 45% or so, something like that, in cables, power cables, interconnect, speaker cables, power reconditioning. I spent about 40%. Why did I not take my own advice there? And the answer to that is simple, and I'm trying to see the future. In other words, I don't like upgrade-itis. I will tell you that. You'll learn that from me real quick. I do not like upgrade-itis. What is upgrade-itis? So upgrade-itis is when you buy something that's, let's say, $100, and then they come out with the $200 thing, and you got to have it. And then they come out with the $300 thing, and you got to have it, and the $400 thing, and you got to have it. So you just, but in audio, we're talking about much bigger price jumps. We're talking about, well, I tried this DAC, it was $700, and now I'm going to go try a $2,000 DAC. And then when I get tired of that, I'm going to try a $10,000 DAC. Well, I really don't want to get into that. And I have to a certain degree on the devices, but I sure as fire do not want to get into that with cables. I found a really good deal, like I told y'all, anywhere from 45 to 61% off, depending on the actual cable I was getting. And I'm talking interconnects and speaker cables and power cables, all three of them. And I still spent on interconnects alone $2,500. And you're like, man, your system ain't worth but about $7 or $8 grand, And then with the speaker cables, I spent another $450. I bought the one thing I did not mention in that video is the cable that goes from my Niagara 3000 to the wall is a AudioQuest Thunder. Look it up. That is a $1,200 cable. It's a 2-meter cable. I think it's $1,200 or $1,400. I got it at, I think the guy was like, if you'll buy the Niagara, I'll give you the Thunder. I wanted a Blizzard. And if you look at their list of stuff, you look at what Blizzard is, and then you look at what Thunder is, it's totally different cable. And I think he sold me that Blizzard. If I buy the Niagara, he said, I'll sell you the Blizzard for $550. So I bought that. But you may say, you know, what are you doing, man? You've only got a $7,000, $8,000 system. What are you doing? Well, I'm building for the future because I know I'm not going to stay there. And I would rather, if I'm going to have upgrade-itis, I would rather have upgrade-itis on my components than my interconnects and whatnot. So I went ahead and I bought really good power cables and really good interconnects, knowing that I was going to reach up out of the MidFi world and into products like maybe Pass Labs or, well, you know, Sutherland. My Sutherland preamp's a $3,000 preamp with the power supply. So the turntable, $3,300. I didn't even have it when I got the interconnects and everything. So that's really what I'm getting at is I was like, I'm going to build a really strong foundation on these cables. And eventually the ratio will be 10 or 15%. So that was kind of my idea. So that's why I broke the rule that I swear by. I really think that if you're not susceptible to upgrade-itis, a 10 to 15% rule is a good rule to live by. Absolutely. So now I've just got to buy the equipment to match the cables. But man, they made such a difference. Anybody telling you that swapping out your interconnects now, and let me get into this a little bit right here. Talking about swapping out your interconnects and everything. If you're running well, let's just say it, and dollars do matter, and not just because dollars, you have to earn the money. I'm talking about, I've heard some people say, well, you know, the amount of money you spend on your system doesn't matter. What matters is, and I'm talking about quality, because, or you can't throw money at a problem to fix it. And there is some truth to that, and then there's some oversimplicity to that. Sometimes you can get a product like a shit, you guys, I can't say it, I'm gonna just call it a Yiggy. You can get a shit Yiggy DAC or shit Freya DAC preamp, and they hit well above their weight. You got to spend $200 to $2,500 to get a better preamp than that Freya. And a lot of guys have said that online, that, I mean, it just hits well above its weight. Yiggy punches up there with $4,000 and $5,000 DACs, and it's like $3,000. So, you know, spending extra money don't always help. But on the other hand, there's a balance to be had with that. And you're not going to get a $2,600, $2,700 DAC to perform like a $10,000 to $12,000 or $13,000. It's not going to perform. Yiggy will never touch a Mola Mola. What's the model? Tim Beck. I can't even say it. Mola Mola. That's the brand. Can't remember that. It's like Tim. It's a fish. The fish. Anyway, look it up. Mola Mola makes $13,000 DAC that kills $20,000 DACs. But you can't take a $2,600, $2,700 Yiggy and match that Mola Mola. It's not going to happen. So anyway, that's where I'm at, and that's how I'm viewing things. Frustrate myself sometimes. I was going somewhere with that and lost my train of thought. Anyway, I've enjoyed the comments. I'm at like almost 10 minutes now. I'm not going to do any editing to this. Very little editing to this. And I'm just going to get it up. It's just basically a response video. Oh crap, don't you hate it when that happens, when you just forget what you were saying and you get your mind off on a different track? That's 10 minutes right there. So anyway, guys, gals, enjoy yourselves. We're down here in Myrtle Beach. It's a little cool. It's like 60 degrees up, maybe even 57 degrees out here right now. It's overcast. It's breezy because we're at the beach. And I'm out here smoking a cigar. We've eat like pigs. We ate at Ruth's Chris last night. Good Lord, we ate at Ruth's Chris. That's crazy. I spent the most I've ever spent on a meal for Miss Nikki and I last night. That was crazy. Had some fantastic bourbon. But anyway, this video's done. If you got some questions, please ask them. And anyway, thank you. Catch you guys later.